Hi, Victoria Casey here again, and today we're talking about the reasons that you don't want your house to look like a for sale by owner or a FSBO. And I'm again with Sean Trainer. He's given us a little bit of his time. He's a Texas licensed realtor with Creekview Realty. Hi, Sean.
Hi, how's it going? Good to see you again. Long
Awesome.
time no see. Last time I saw you,
Yeah,
you were about that tall. You doing all right?
yeah.
Good, good. Well, that's a
Good.
interesting topic for story today. So I always like your interesting angles. Um, I totally concur. Don't want to look like a FSBO. What have you researched? What have you found, Vic?
Well, I found that, surprisingly, there's a new wave out in realty, and you know that more and more people are selling their house by themselves. At the height of the Great Recession, it was up as many as 20% of the buyers, and now it's starting to drop off again, but it's still a steady percentage of buyers that are avoiding the big fees, and they're kind of taking control. The problem is you don't necessarily want to telegraph that message because it is still a realtor-dominated market. And some realtors don't necessarily want to play with you. And the reason is because they've been burned in one way, or they all get together and hang out the water cooler and hear the horror stories about the lady that runs around with aluminum foil on her head or has cat urine scented candles, basically, and doesn't have a very pretty home. And there's scary things and realtors want to deal with other professionals. And so when you're selling your home, you don't want to advertise to people that you're a discounted, that you're basically, think of this, you don't want to bring in people that are unqualified buyers that are just going to be a bunch of tire kickers who are going to try and get you down to the lowest number. You want to deal with people who are pre-qualified, who deal with professional realtors, or look like you are, so that you can play and hang with the big boys.
Totally agree. No, it's a good research. We call in this industry we call them red flags. We encourage our sellers to avoid red flags like the plague. Red flags being anything that identifies you as a FSBO customer. When working with us, we try to make you look like every other property in the entire state. We don't want you to look any different than anybody else. That includes we give you a professional yard sign, you get the key box, you get the flyer box, you of course you get the electronic memory key box that attaches to your door. You get centralized showing service, which is the norm for certain areas to set up and make sure to arrange for the agent's showings. We encourage all of our sellers to avoid having their kids voicemail, mommy's not here, but leave a message, ha 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 ha. It's adorable, but it's not professional. What you want to do is you want to do your best to avoid red flags. Why? The question becomes why? Why is it a big deal? I want to sell my house. I want to look like for sale by owner. I don't like realtors. Blah, blah, blah. I've heard all the excuses in the world. They're facts of the facts. Agents have sat around and heard their horror stories, like you told me. The crazy old lady with 200 kitty cats. When an agent shows up to your house and they see a FSBO sign out front, first of all, that's a big whoa, what's going on to an agent? They found you in the MLS, okay, and then they show up and you don't have a professional yard sign. The first thing that they're going to start thinking is, am I even going to get any money for showing this house? Is there even a commission? And you're hoping that they printed off, their sheet of paper from the MLS saying, you get your 3% commission, don't worry. Okay, good. But if they didn't print that sheet of paper, I mean, I hate to say it, I wouldn't be surprised if they look over and going, oh my gosh, look at this disgusting fence. We need to keep looking. Oh, look how close that road is. We don't want roads under here. They're going to just try to get themselves away from the house, because let's just say you fall in love with it, okay? And you love that house. You go inside and you and the buyer are like, oh my God, this is a beautiful house. And that agent goes to write up the offer, and they get back to the office and they look, and it's like a 1% or a 0.5% commission. And they could have made 3% on the next door neighbor's house or a different house. They've been there, they've done it, they've heard the horror stories, and once again, if they don't know what they're about to walk their buyers into, they're very leery on walking them in. I mean, it's not like a realtor really goes ahead of time and checks out the house and walks it. I mean, some do sometimes, but not all the time. Most of the time, you pull up, the agent's walking in for the first time, just like you are. So, when they see the FSBO sign out front, they start going, "Ooh, I'm gonna look really dumb if I walk in and there's blood everywhere and crime scene tape. I'm
Crime
gonna look
scene.
really
Yeah,
stupid. You know what I mean?" So
yeah.
they will literally be very, very leery on dealing with a FSBO customer. Not just because of that, but as well. Sometimes agents just don't want to work with a seller because they feel like the FSBO seller, because they might have to hold down both sides of the game.
Right.
They have to explain to their buyer what earnest money is, and then they have to turn around and try to explain the buyer's earnest money to a seller, and then the seller's like, "Well, I want $50,000 in earnest money," and they're like, What are you talking about? God, why can't I have a professional handle this?" So anything that you do that shows that you're a FSBO customer when you're trying to play on the MLS is highly discouraged. You're just asking for problems. You're asking to minimize the showings. You're asking for agents to treat you like dirt sometimes. Even if you paid for the full representation and you're going to have an agent negotiate for you, they don't really realize that. They think they're going to be having to deal with you the whole time. And I've seen it where literally sellers have called me in tears because of a realtor just is so negative and so mean because of this, just what they thought they were. So again, have a professional yard sign.
The most exposure possible and never look unprofessional doing it.
Right, right, and we really encourage our sellers to try to make it as easy as possible for the agent, for the realtor. Easy as possible to access that property, take care of showings, getting appraisers and inspectors over there. Make it as easy as possible for them to communicate with you. Don't be hard to get a hold of. Don't be hard to ask questions. If they have questions, be available. If you make it easy for them, the experience becomes easy. They're more copacetic with you when they're working with you. They're going to be more encouraging to their buyers to try to bend over a little bit further backwards. If you're a jerk, or if you're rude, or if you're short tempered because you don't like realtors, they're going to be they're not going to be the sweetest pie. I'm not saying it's going to be like the disgusting pie, but it'd probably be like sweet potato. I mean, it's okay pie, but it's definitely, it needs whipped cream. So put some whipped cream on your professionalism, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, actually it does. And you and I have talked before about the fact is that with a flat fee, not just with your company, but with any good flat fee service, most of them, if not almost all of them, offer some kind of a la carte services. So make sure you're getting the professional assistance you need when you need it, and that you can appear as professional as possible, and that you can do everything that you need to do as a seller to again, to blend in. If you want to go incognito, you want to have the centralized service showing service. You want to have the professional sign for $10. Even if you buy the frame yourself, get the insert from a professional. Don't look. It's what is it? $10?
Well, heck, if you're using us, we encourage these inserts. We give those out for free to a lot of our customers. We have an abundance of extra ones people send back after they sell. Half the time I just mail them out. At the very least, if you needed a yard sign frame, we have tons of extra ones downstairs in the shipping department. So just shoot us an email. Let us know that you need a professional yard sign and a frame, and we'll get one shipped out to you. I encourage it when the whole company encourages, because the quicker you sell means the less amount of phone calls I have to receive from you going, "Why am I not selling?" Well, it's probably because you told the last realtor about your son committing suicide in the bathtub. Like,
Yeah,
don't do stupid stuff that's not professional stuff. Just try to be as professional as possible. Professional yard sign, and like I said, if you need any help from us, we're here. I'll send you out a sign tomorrow. Doesn't hurt my feelings.
right. And if you're getting stuck up in the things that again, if the negotiations are scary, and they are kind of scary, and you do know when it comes to the contracts, you do need to know what you're doing. And so that is a time when if the flat fee service that you're looking for allows for a greater representation, this is one time when I say do it. You know me, Sean, I'm all about empowerment to people who want to sell their homes, because you can save tens of thousands of dollars. And if you have children, They kind of like to eat, and you have bills to pay, and you have things to do, college education to fund, cars to fund. You don't have to take a huge percentage of your equity if you've managed to even build it up. A lot of times when in the VA loans, when they come in with no money down, that's great, but the no money down thing means you have years to build up that equity. If you're going to take 10 years to build up equity, and now you got to take about 35% of it because of the actual equity, because you're really usually paying about 6% of the value of your home. That's the traditional average. It still comes out sometimes to as much as 35% of your equity. That's a massive investment of your life that needs to stay in your pocket. It's your freaking money.
It's
So
your family's money. No, no, I think you're
right.
exactly right. That was one of the things I would love to see a study on. Is the rich people don't tend to sell their houses. Okay, they just buy more. Okay, us common folk, we like to have a new house every 5 or 7 years, and every 5 or 7 years you're eating up 6% of your equity. I mean, I hate to say it. That could literally be the difference between you being rich and you not being rich is six
Yeah,
percent here and six
it's
percent
actually
there.
surprising.
So
The average American moves between 11 and 16 times in their lifetime. The low end of the average is actually about 11 times, 8 to 11 times, as high as 16 during their lifetime. How many times are you buying a home? How many billions of dollars are going into the real estate infrastructure? Now, your agent may only close 1 or 2 deals a year, especially if they're a part-time agent. Most agents only make around $36,000 a year for the low end. That means they're not necessarily super experienced at the negotiating. That's another thing. You guys do it all the time
yeah,
because you are a higher volume.
it's crazy because I have people tell me all the time, "Oh, I'm gonna handle all the paperwork myself," and oh, I know what I'm doing, and it's like I
Yeah,
I see thousands of contracts, and we still are getting baffled by some. Sometimes we get an offer, or sometimes we get a negotiation, and things just don't go the right way, and things happen. I mean, you can't tell me that you know more than we do when we see thousands of contracts, and we, as a team, I mean, we have 9 realtors that work here, so 9 realtors, all these brains working, and we still get stumped sometimes.
right.
I'm gonna go hire my lawyer. I got this lawyer that's gonna do it for me. I mean, how many contracts does a lawyer see? Let's be nice. 25 a year. I mean, that's an awesome lawyer that deals with real estate contracts, which it's probably something closer to about 2, maybe 5 a year. So you're trying to tell me that guy is going to know what a promulgated contract should be filled out, how it should be filled out, and what this means in this box more so than my team? And no, that's not as encouraging as I am for you to do it yourself. It's borderline foolish to go hire a lawyer to handle it. I can understand you having a lawyer maybe overseeing, just make sure that someone's not doing something stupid. I can understand, but for you to want them to handle your paperwork and your negotiations, I think you're cutting yourself short. I think when you start working with a realtor, we know how to squeeze a turnip a little bit better than you do because we've had a lot more turnips to have to squeeze. So it's not just about telling them what you want. Oh, my seller wants this, this, and this. It's also about telling the buyer agent how to properly tell their buyer what we're saying. It's one thing to come in and say, "Oh, we're not going to pay for a new survey. If you want a survey, get it yourself." Okay? Or you go to the buyer agent, you go, "Well, I'm a little concerned that this survey might be a little bit old. Give your buyers a heads up that they might have to buy a new survey." Those are two completely different ways to say the same thing. And we know how to tell other agents the nicest way to tell bad news to their buyer.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's I don't care what lawyer you have, if they don't have the experience to be able to persuade the other party to talk about it, they're going to be in the dust compared to what we know. But hey, again, this is a good problem to have because it at least means you're under contract. So if you want to handle it yourself and handle it down, I cross my fingers you know what you're doing, and sleep well. I hope you don't find out later you did something wrong, and
It can come
you'll
take
hear
a
about it.
Yeah, it can come and take a big wet bite out of your hiney. And as a matter of fact, you guys in the Dallas location actually have an attorney who's also a realtor.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are exceptions to everything, but my advice is yes, do a FSBO. Find a discounted flat fee broker, and then once you find that get the pricing of your house right. Get the MLS listing. 4 out of 5 homes are still bought and sold on the MLS. It is the most powerful system for selling your home. Take advantage of that. What you want to do is get the good stuff and leave the crud behind. So, and with you guys, go with either full representation or go have someone negotiate your contracts. And then, of course, when you go to closing, that you're going to handle a title company or attorney's going to handle that.
Yeah, the title company they have lawyers. I mean, that is what title
that's what they do
requires.
all day long. They know what they're doing with this.
Yeah.
So again, it's one of those. If you've ever eaten a cereal that has the little marshmallows in it, that's the best kind. Get the marshmallows out of it. Leave the stuff that you don't want.
Right.
What people have a problem with realtors is there's a lot of times when a realtor's interests do not legitimately line up with the interest of the buyer or the seller, and that because of the way the system is structured. And people have a problem with paying $18,000 to $30,000 just to sell their own home. That's ridiculous. There's no excuse for it. But you do need specialized knowledge. You do need help. You do need, as you are saying about the parachute and going with somebody that can free fall with you in that jump, that knows what they're doing when you're first skydiving. It's not worth, to me, it's worth spending a few $100s to get that, and not having to lose sleep at night wondering whether or not you filled that contract out correctly. That is a legal document that can come back and bite you in the butt, period.
And
So
agents
put your family first.
don't want to talk to the sellers regarding all that stuff. They want to talk to another professional. So back to the whole moral of this whole interview, it's a giant red flag when you are handling the contracts yourself. So don't do it if you don't know what you're doing, because it's just going to be discouraging to the other parties involved. But hey, it's once again, at least you're on the MLS. At least you have an offer on the property. With us, you can always upgrade later if you decide you're in over your head. And all the other brokers around the country, they have similar things where you can upgrade later if you don't know what you're doing. So just know what you're doing. If you don't, stop, ask a realtor, and we can help you.
Right, and Sean, how can we reach you if we want to reach you? And you're throughout the United States, but you're headquartered in Texas?
Right. We are nationally. We have a national system for brokers across the country. We are a brokerage in Texas, so if you need to sell or buy in Texas, we handle that. But as far as the rest of the country, just call our 1-800 number, and we'll put you in touch with the right broker. 1-800-477-7771. So you'll see it at the bottom. Go to our website, flatfeelisting.com. If you have questions or whatever, just hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Google. I don't care. Shoot me a message. Call the company. Heck, we even have a chat thing set up. I think it's on this page. If you go up to the top, you can click the little chat and chat right with a licensed realtor. So, man, most importantly, get on the MLS. Don't look like a FSBO. Be nice, be courteous, and be professional. And you'll have this house sold before you know it.
Yep, sell your home, keep more of the money, and regardless of whether they go with you or any other service, just go with somebody that's going to help you.
I agree. Well, until next time.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too.